Welcome back, guys. My name's Chris, this is iRideTaz, and this is the VL250 bobber build. This is Amity. And today, after last week's epic of replacing the exhaust, we're going to tinker a little bit. We're going to remove the crankcase breather that vents through the airbox stock to help it meet emissions, and we're going to replace it with a 12mm TFI Racing mini breather that I got for Autobarn. This is about 15 bucks. Where it comes in from the crankcase into the airbox, we'll need to block off so we don't get any unregulated air going through the airbox, leaning the bike out. So I've bought these 10mm universal blanking caps from Autobarn. They're about $3.95 each. And then from there, we're going to swap to a CR7E NGK plug. Stock, it's CR9KE, so this is a hotter plug, but we're going to run 98 because there's a guy on the internet that really swears by a performance increase of running this hotter plug with 98 octane fuel in this bike. And it's a 10.5 to 1 compression ratio, and that's not such a big jump that we stand a huge chance of damaging the engine. So I'm willing to give it a go. Because before we get into it, just go to choppedandbob.com.au and check out their awesome merch, things like this beanie, the hoodies I wear, and it's iRideTaz 10 on checkout to save yourself some dollars on their awesome merchandise and support a local Australian business. But guys, let's get into replacing those plugs first. Guys, I'm all for supporting local business, but I'm also not for getting ripped off. I wanted to buy some CR7E plugs, and the local bike shop wanted to charge me a whopping $33.95 for 2 of them. That is an absolute joke. So if you go to Autobarn or Supercheap, they're about $6.95 each, not so 15, 16 bucks each that they were going to charge me. It pays to do your homework, don't get ripped off, but also support local business, guys. Got myself a long socket and ratchet handle, left to loosen to get them out. Awesome, good to see that they weren't too tight. Nothing stresses me more than when you go to undo them and someone's just tried to fuse metal atoms together because they're that tight. All right. Let's get these bad boys out. They've been in there a while. They are pretty... Oh yeah, look at it. So, they're bent. They're not gapped properly. They're certainly not wet, but they could do with replacing. Stock, these are CR9KE. We're swapping to CR7E. There's a guy on the internet that really swears by a performance gain to be had by changing to CR7E plugs and running 98 octane fuel. That's Ron. Ultimately, let's get these bad boys in. Just do them finger tight to start with so that you're not cross-threading. And we'll just nip them up at the end. I'm sure there's a torque spec, but I've never really gone in for torque specs. I usually just go tight plus a quarter that's done me for years. But that's installed. That's it. Let's go around the other side. So this is the rear cylinder. Just got a ratchet handle. What is it? 16mm Tool Pro long socket. We just remove the spark plug lead or the high tension lead, left to loosen, and yeah, again, that wasn't too tight, so whoever's done some work on this bike has certainly not cranked them down. Here's our new NGK CR7E. Finger tight, because you really don't want to cross thread that. So just work it in with your fingers so that you're not cross threading it. Seat it. And just nip it up. Quarter usually does it for me with most things. Again, I'm sure there's a torque spec available, but as long as you're not over tightening stuff, I just tend to tight plus about a quarter. That feels right, and I've done it for years and I've never had an issue, never broken a bolt. Yeah, that is the spark plugs changed. We'll keep these CR9KEs just in case it doesn't work. Well, it starts, and I have to say that leapt to life a bit easier than the 9s, so that's a real positive. Yeah, let's just rip off this hose and put this breather on so it looks a bit better and we're not getting oily fumes come from the engine going through the airbox and then going back through the engine. We will keep these plugs clean by just venting to atmosphere. So this is the pipe here that we're going to remove. So we'll just pop that there and just get that out of the way for the moment. Get that off as well. Random. There's a screw floating around in there. That's not ideal. That out of the way. Oh, I'm just going to need some pliers. I'm not sponsored by Tool Pro by any way. I just like Supercheap. I find the guys in the Devonport store are super cool and helpful. So this is Tool Pro multi-tool. This is $15.95 on special, and this is easily the best multi-tool I've had. It's actually better than the Gerber that I use at work. So there's just 2 prongs, and you just want to catch them and pull that off. And just got the tube you're pulling off. There is what the crankcase breather hose connects to. This is what we've got here. It's just a universal blanking cap. It's a 10mm. That's what it looks like there. It's just going to go on that to stop unregulated air from going into the airbox and then the carby. open it out a fraction. Yeah, I get on there. Here we go. That's on there good and proper. That screw, where the hell did that go? That screw that was floating around here seems to go in there, so we'll put that back in again, just so that we don't get unmetered air, unregulated air going into the airbox and causing us to run lean. Yeah, that's exactly where it goes. Not sure quite how that's fallen out. Cool. What's the go here? Ooh. Disconnect that. Take that elbow out. Take this janky heat shield off. That's our filter there. I'm going to try and put it straight down on the vent, which means that we have to change camera angle and go around the other side. So this is the hose here. Pull it through. There's the spring clamp there that we're going to try and get, which is going to be real hard. There we go. Pop that off. And yeah, pop that off. Just go handheld for a second. This is what we're working with here. That hose was connected. You can see this is all sooty. That is because all the oily air comes up out of there and goes back through the airbox and back through the engine to be reburnt, which helps it meet emissions, but it's certainly not great for the sort of longevity of the engine, performance of the engine. So by blanking this off, ultimately we're just going to make the engine run a bit cleaner and hopefully just have that sort of slight increase in performance because you're not reburning oily, crappy air. We're going to try and run that directly in there. If I can't get it to fit, I will run the hose back in, clip it, and then push it in there. But I'm really keen just to get it to sit on that vent. This ignition barrel's in the way. I can't get it in from the other side. Yeah, it's a 5. And we're lucky it's an Allen key. Normally these are Torx. Yeah. It's interesting. That has definitely been removed before for some reason. You're joking. No. I'm going to try and remove this as well. I've got the 8 with the extension. Yeah. Just crack these. Three. That's what we're after. Okay. Yep, we can pop that in there now. Sandy. Oh yeah, that. Spin that around. And we'll just get blade screwdriver. Nice. And finger tight, and then finger tight, and we'll just nip them up. Just again, if you can, always just do finger tight to prevent cross-threading. Nothing is unfixable, but if you can avoid cross-threading stuff, you want to. Tight. Get our ignition switch back in. That is that installed. Yeah, that looks pretty sweet. That's our crankcase breather installed there. We just took that screw out, that, popped that off, took the ignition barrel out, ignition switch out, and that gave us more than enough room to get that in and screw up the clamp, and then we just reversed it and put it all back together. Yeah, that looks great. Let's fire it up again, make sure it starts. I always like to start it after each process just to make sure that it starts and it runs and we haven't sort of progressed beyond where we understand what we need to fix to get it to run again. So I'll put you back on the tripod and we will fire it up. Yeah, it just leapt to life. I feel that with these hotter plugs in a colder environment like Tasmania, it will actually run better. I could see it jumping to life easier than what it did with those plugs, the stock plugs. Yeah, that was pretty cool. I'm happy with that. That was nice, quick, easy. While we're here, I'm just going to nip these rear foot pegs off. Later down the track, we will probably end up removing this stay anyway, but just at the moment, I'm going to cut this rear foot peg off on either side. Just gonna use my trusty Anchor black paint pen, or not. Cool, and we'll go around the other side and cut the other one off. Just gonna remove this side cover, because it'll go pretty close and I don't want to nick it. Just going to use a Phillips head. Take that out. Safety glasses, yeah, that's better. Cool, so we have just used the Anchor paint pen to touch that up. Just might remove the chain guard. Three-second job, and while we've got it, everything's set up, I might actually just cut that off. But I cut these tabs off that held the chain guard on. Just got flat disc, just gonna clean that up. Let's put this back together. All right, one final thing to do, and that is to fill the tank with 98. Just went down to Amopol and got some Amopol 98, which works pretty well in my cars. Why is that not going in? There we go. So a full tank of 98, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. It was a productive little session. We changed the crankcase breather. We put in some NGK CR7E plugs, which are hotter than stock, but supposedly give a little bit of performance increase to this bike. What else did we do? Oh, we cut the rear foot pegs off, and yeah, went sort of knee deep into the process of slimming it down. Hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Make sure you go to chopthembob.com.au, check out their merch, support a local business, and use iRideTaz10 on checkout to support me and let these guys know that you came from my channel to their business. Guys, till I see you next time, it's Tuesday, 3:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to fire this bad boy up, and yeah, hopefully when the rain stops, we can take it out on the road and give it a rip.